Greetings, brothers, sisters, friends, and foes. It's Bill from Agape on the streets. I hope you've watched my last couple videos. Then you will be updated and understand more what I'm talking about right now, because this is a continuation of the situation that I now find myself in with the child support, the garnishment, my kids being mid-30s, none of it makes any sense to me, no real warning or anything. They just took what I usually make, about $1,000 every 2 weeks, and I got $300, and it was already where I could barely survive on it. And now I'm in trouble. Now I'm in big trouble. Just got a vehicle, and if you watch those videos, you'll see everything that really felt God opening the doors, because I got some amazing deals, really blessed. Things started going, wheels started turning, and it literally, just like flipping a switch, it's just all destroyed. But I'm trusting God that He's going to remedy this, and I'm reaching out to my brothers and sisters, because so many times we like to just, it's God, why is God doing this, or God will take care of you. But see, the taking care of part, that's the church. That's what we do. We take care of each other. And I've been out there a long time, and I'm not going to sit here and boast, but I've reached people that most people couldn't talk to in the church, gone places you wouldn't go. And God has done amazing, amazing things. And I'd love to continue that. Most of you know that I felt God called me to this as full-time ministry. But because a lot of people, they made a lot of promises, and then they just couldn't follow through with funding and support. I've gone out, I've had a couple jobs, one where I worked so hard I couldn't walk anymore. And now I finally found a job. I'm behind a computer. It's not exciting. It's got its issues, but I can do it. And I'm making enough to survive. And I've got 10-hour days, so I've got 3 days off. I'm able to go do ministry, able to get my life put back together, which I've got a lot of stuff to deal with now. But this just wiped it out. So I got to see a lawyer this morning. Turned out to be an awesome brother. He saw some of my videos, realized I was in Williams. He goes, I'm in Williams right now. I practice law in Arizona, but let's chat. And I talked to the guy. The guy's a Christian, but right away says, I haven't really been involved. I've had issues with the church, and being a lawyer, he goes, I know I'm a bit analytical, but it drove me to a point I couldn't go watch the hypocrisy anymore. And I feel for him. I love my church brothers and sisters, but I tell you what, there's stuff going on, and I know it's a hospital and stuff, so gave me a chance to connect with this brother. And he started sharing with me. He used to be a lawyer in California. In fact, he used to work for the state quite a bit. And he says, I had to walk away. He said, I had so many issues with ethics there, things that just aren't even right. They're not legal, but the state does them anyways, and they get away with it. And if they get caught, it's a whoops, or, there's always a wiggly way out of it. But he goes, 90% of the time, they get away with it. And they get money, they get funds, they rip people off, they destroy people's lives. And it puts them more and more in power. He says, I watched this for many years. I'm sorry you're involved now. So I shared some of my past, how I've lost businesses to these guys. The issue I had with my birth certificate, where I've got pictures of what the real one says, and they said it never existed. And then they just, that's not legal. And they just, they really mess you around. They really mess you around, and nobody listens. And now I've got this situation with a phone number that rings, and it calls, literally it's a computer with tons of recordings that sends you around. And I don't know if it's designed that way on purpose or if they're really just that busy. But I've gotten a hold of no one so far, and I'm going to continue to try. I have to. But I'm also exploring using some AI, as I did go to school for that, and I'm not a huge fan of AI, but it is a way to get more information and see about getting help drawing up some paperwork and stuff. And I'm just open to whatever's out there. But this lawyer shared something interesting with me, and he's grew up as a Democrat, and I hate getting political and all this stuff. I'm out to share Jesus for everyone, but I'm seeing this. It's just in my face, okay? and California has taken the word Democrat. I don't believe these are true. My grandparents were Democrats. They were good people. They had a good heart. They did great things. And back in the day, we could agree to disagree with the little things between Democrat and Republican, and the other ones out there that seem to get thrown by the wayside. I wish they had more power and we had a true system that was balanced, but we don't. We have a two-party system when it comes down to it. But he goes, I was a Democrat. He goes, I grew up Democrat. He goes, and then he explained to me on his heart what a Democrat was. And it was a very Christian-sounding thing. They were a lot, liberal was more based on generosity. They were giving, they were more kind-hearted. They weren't as stringent to the word of the law. It was more of the intent of the law, and letting something slide for this. And I go, wow, that sounds more like at least what a lot of Republicans say they are now. Some of it's gone pretty crazy too. We've got that immigration thing, and I believe we do have to hold the law on it. But now you see people kind of saying maybe it's gone too far. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it, but you got to be careful with anything like that you don't get crazy and start to destroy people. So we've got some very delicate situations going on right now, but he brought one up to me that really got his attention, and it's this whole Russia thing that's going on now, and now they're looking at Obama and all this, and he says, look at this. He goes, this is all politics, playing on power. They're addicted to it, and they destroyed people's lives. He said, so these small groups of people that want power, they had no problem destroying thousands and thousands of people's lives in the process. It doesn't even keep them up at night. And he got into some details of that, and I'm just going, wow, what a sad world we live in. He goes, that's what you're facing in California. You find someone with a heart there, let me know. Because most of these people in government, they're pretty ruthless people. And that shook me a little bit. It's given me more idea what I'm up against. So I ask more and more for your prayers. God, humble hearts, open eyes. This is crazy what's going on out there. And I'm in some serious stuff. But one thing he did bring up to me was accountability. He said, so, you're asking people to help you out and stuff. There's tons of people that ask help, give me money, and they go out and drink it away or whatever. Well, I can tell you I'm not much of a drinker. But I am going to list for you here in this video. I'm going to go through my expenses, which aren't many, but I've got some expenses. They're pretty basic. I'm living pretty basic. And I'm going to give you a full outline of what my life looks like right now and see if you can help me out. So I went through all my bills, crunched some numbers, and what I've got here is actually, it's a very conservative rating of my finances. This is if nothing goes wrong and I'm just bare minimum on everything. And just in a situation, being accountable and open to where I am with things and showing you that I actually live very humbly. I live in it's actually a cargo trailer that many of you know Josie, but he's a young man that I helped off the streets back some time. He calls me dad, I call him son. I mean, legally, I never legally adopt him or anything, but we definitely have that relationship. He's now married, living an amazing life, him and his wife. But he bought this cargo trailer originally because him and I were going to go out on the streets, and he ended up getting married and stuff. So he said, Dad, why don't you hang on to that so you have a place to stay? And I've converted it into a living quarters. It's got a nice bed in it. It's got a microwave, a refrigerator, freezer, a swamp cooler because it gets warm and stuff, and it's got a propane heater, very basic. I never did get the shower or any of the plumbing done, although I have some of the parts. So that's why I stay here in the RV park, which has a nice hot shower, not too far from me. There's actually even an indoor swimming pool. And I've got my storage here as well, so I get really blessed here. And I'll go over all this stuff with you, but you know, that's the way I've been living. Definitely not complaining. I praise God that I've got this place. The first part of this video I made from inside that new little van that I got blessed with, and there's a curtain. You can see that behind me, and then behind that's it's a wide open cargo space. So I've got some camping gear back there basically, so I can stay in there. I spent the night in there when I went down to Phoenix and went to the courthouse and stuff, so I don't have to pay for a hotel. So a lot of ways I can live very efficiently. And then even that van, you know, you get a little cheaper insurance if you keep your mileage down. Of course, maintenance and everything goes down. So that's why I got the electric bike. Just to make clear to some of you, because this stuff blows people's minds, how much this stuff cost. So Josie, my son, he used to race professionally, mountain bikes and stuff. And we went out looking at bikes. And just even a professional mountain bike can easily run you $10,000. And, you know, it starts going like, what the heck? So we started looking at electric bikes. So I had a way to get around. And, you know, brands like Specialized, different things, Cannondale, they start at $10,000. And they go way up from there. And these are light little things. And I'm thinking, I don't need it to be that light. I'd rather have a tank that's going to hold up. So when a friend of mine came to me, he's got an import business in California, and he says, we've got these bikes. They're heavy. They're a couple hundred pounds, but they'll easily hold your weight and then some. I think they're rated like 500 pounds. And he says, you know, these things are just built like a tank. They've got huge batteries on them. You can get 200 miles out of a charge, which is unheard of for a bike. They've got tons of power, so they can get you around. And he says, I can get this to you for under $4,000. And it's like, that's crazy steal for an electric bike. That sounds like a lot, but for a good pro-type bike, that's decent, you know. And this thing is definitely built to take it. And God gave me a vision of going out and doing a lot of amazing stuff on this, helping others and motivating people. But unfortunately, I just got all this stuff, and I got it extremely inexpensively, the van, which, you know, right now, especially nomads are buying up vans like crazy. You get $10,000 for them. A brother down in Phoenix, he buys and sells cargo vans, and got it out of auction straight to me for, it was actually under $5,000. And this stuff is amazing, of course, and I had to finance a little bit, so there's some finance charge on top of it, which I understand with these loans, if you pay it off right away, you could save some of that interest. But here's where I stand right now. My monthly cell phone bill is $56, and I use Verizon Unlimited Data. The reason I do that is most of the areas I'm in, a lot of the others don't cut it. I've found some cheaper plans, but they're cheaper by maybe $10 or so, and there's no coverage. So this is just served me well, and it's got the unlimited data. It's how I do these videos. It's how I do everything. I literally do everything on my phone these days. So you got 56 there. The vehicle payment right now, with interest and everything, it's $6,000. So it was about $5,000, and then you got about $1,000 interest on there, but it's $292 a month. My e-bike, again, that was $3,939 with interest and stuff. They add a little more for that kind of loan. It was $5,521, but it's $230.06 a month. Now, I had planned to get this stuff going and then do a bunch of side jobs and stuff and just pay this off, save a lot on the interest, but that's where we are now. So we've got the 56 for the cell, 292 for the van, e-bike for 230.06. I've got a PayPal credit card out there, which unfortunately I racked up $1,266.12 on, because there was a while there I was living on it, and I've started paying that off quite a bit. That was way up there, but I'm still doing $50 a month on that. I was making some $200-300 payments there. In fact, I made a couple $800 payments now I think about it, and just pulled that thing way down. There's a PayPal credit account, which I was doing all my online stuff while I was living at Little America. I did a lot of my clothes, everything else through Amazon, and that's $65 a month. That's got $2,765.44 on it. I've got what's called an ML credit card. I just buy gas and stuff on that one. It's $10 a month. I've got $42.70 on that right now. Then I've got my rent, which includes the RV park, you know, my shower, my trash, my laundry, electricity. They do everything for me here. Now, I'm on solar full time, but I'm able to plug in if I need a charge. I'm able to hook up to the water to fill my swamp cooler. My plumbing isn't set up yet, but, you know, they allow me all that stuff. And I've got that plus my storage, which is a good size storage unit. I think it's like 10 by 15. The whole thing there for $460 a month. So God has blessed me, as you can see, with some of these rates. I'm definitely not living on the high horse. He's just got me in there. But so all those together, those reoccurring charges there, the subtotal there is $1,163.06. And just so you understand, right now, they're allowing me $150 a week off my paycheck, which comes to $600 a month. So not even close to just my necessities there. Now, then you got to add food to it. And, you know, I try to eat decent. I don't eat a lot, but I don't eat junk either. And, you know, I've had a lot of health problems. My health is doing very well right now. And I attribute that to my diet. I just stopped eating junk. I cut it out. And, but I'm even able to eat, you know, good whole foods. And it's running me about $280 a month. Keep in mind, I don't have a full kitchen here. So, you know, unfortunately, that might even get it down more. Some stuff I got to work on if I can sustain here. But using a microwave and just doing a lot of quicker type stuff, a lot of uncooked foods is what I do. You know, where I make wraps with just chicken or some tuna and some maybe coleslaw in there and wrap it up in a wrap. You know, it's pretty healthy and it's been keeping me going. I've got my meds, which they're running me about $80 a month right now, and that's a couple holistic things I take, plus things like my levothyroxine, which I must have, or I am bye-bye, and some I've weaned myself way off of blood pressure meds, but there's still a couple I need, and my blood pressure is amazing right now. It's really working out. My car insurance, which at the dealer they charged me $75 for a month. Now, I had insurance on my big F450 commercial truck before I lost it, and they charged me $700 for a whole year. So I'm going to go back through them, Progressive. They were really good to me. And my goal was, in fact, with this last check that I didn't get, I was just going to buy a year off of them. Talking to them back and forth, it was sounding like I could do that for about $480, which is amazing. And just a year car insurance is done. So that was my plan. Unfortunately, now I have no car insurance. And here in Arizona, that means they take your plate away. You know, they pretty much, your car is no longer valid, licensed. So I am unable to drive that. And, you know, then eventually I don't pay the loan, they come take it. So there's another deal, $75 there. Car maintenance. So they worked out a maintenance plan for me. It's no way I can say exactly how much it is because it really depends on things that happen and stuff. But I bought this van from a friend of mine who got it at auction, but he got all the records for it. And the company that had it into the dealer every 3,000 miles. And he's telling me, if you continue to do that, this thing's going to run a long time. And I threw some stuff around on that. It came up with about $100 a month. I'm going a little bit on my buddy Bob here, who's got his Toyota Tacoma. He takes it to the dealer every 3,000 miles. And if he drives a lot, so he's spending a lot more than that. But I'm thinking I'm going to cut the driving way down with that bike. So hopefully I can pull that off, about $100 a month. And then with that, I put fuel $150 a month again, just cutting it way down. You know, just maybe a trip every other week or so to Flag and whatever emergency stuff comes up. So all together there, we've got $1,848.06. That's basically my necessity stuff, a lowball figure for it for a month. That's what it costs me to live right now. I remember when I was getting into ministry, and I was going, we're going to pull this together for $1,000 a month, and I was like, wow. Now that I got medical and everything else, of course, back then, I had the truck, everything was paid for, so I'm starting over. I lost everything. I mean, you guys know that the truck literally just freak accident, oil pump in the middle of the block, big diesel motor, it shattered, caused enough damage that it's basically cheaper to get a new motor than to fix that. So, and then I was making $2,000 a month, just right around there, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, and you take the 1848.06 from that, and if I were to live without doing anything, that paycheck left me $151.47 a month. And I says, well, some people said off from that. Well, we'll see. I doubt they're going to accept that. I could make do on that. Maybe do a little side thing once in a while or something. But instead, they're leaving me about that. The whole thing is nuts. And I wanted to run that by you guys just to pray over, to be accountable to you, to let you know, I've been living pretty humbly here. I haven't been complaining about it. God has really changed my heart, and even now, I'm just not going to panic on this stuff. I'm going to trust God. I hope I don't end up in the streets. I really do. But if I do, I trust God. It's this. What else do we do? So, my kid, he's already freaking out. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. He's not freaking out. He's concerned. He's concerned. And he's saying, what about that trailer? They're trying to get into a permanent place in about a year. They're looking to get some property and stuff. They've been doing the nomad thing, and they were praying about getting a bigger rig and everything, and God's really put on their heart, it's time to settle down. So he's saying, if I get some property and stuff, you can move over there with the trailer and move everything over there, and you got a place to put it. And we'll see what happens. I really don't know. I really don't know at this point. I am praying. I have no problem if I could just keep this job and go from here. I was putting one foot in front of the other, and God was opening some doors, and I was praying that was going to continue. Hey, I'm sorry this video went so long, but I want to just say God bless y'all, and thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me your time. If you go to our website, agapeonthestreets.com, I have put a new little piece of information on there. That first page you come to, scroll all the way to the bottom, and there's information on there where you can get to my PayPal, my Venmo, and my Cash App account. Anything you can do monetarily is a huge, huge blessing right now. But as I wrote on there, I'm also very interested in finding a lawyer. I guess I would need a family lawyer, and particularly it sounds like one in California, because I talked to one here in Arizona who said he couldn't really do a lot more than give me advice. He actually used to work for the state of California, and he told me today he quit because he had ethics issues with him. Yeah, ethics. I can hardly say it anymore, but wow. He gave me a lot of information. Unfortunately, it was pretty sad. The sad things that are going on. Says you're not the only one going through this. They're just doing whatever to whoever. And got another friend. He's a missionary brother as well. They tried to go after him for child support, and he didn't even have a kid. He had to pay for DNA tests, go through all this stuff, and at the end they just basically said, "Oh, okay." He says, "What about all that money I spent? Lawyers, DNA, all this stuff. Oh, thank you, bye." And just wiped him out. Another guy who never even lived in California, he's a famous artist that if I got into it, you know who he was. He did a big art show, a convention in California. It's the only thing he's ever really done there. Besides donate, he put his art in a big arena that they had down there. And a little while later gets a letter from the state of California. They garnish him for thousands of dollars in taxes. Income taxes. He goes, income taxes? I paid my income tax here. I live here. We wrote the thing for California. Oh no, you owe this whole year and da-da-da. And he went to his lawyer. The lawyer says, totally illegal what they did. We're going to go get them. Well, they went, the court, they just kept postponing it. And finally his lawyer says, this is their tactic. You're going to pay me more in lawyer's fees going and getting turned away than you paid them. And they ended up just walking away from it, leaving California won. They got their money. I just keep hearing stories like this from people, and I'm like, Lord have mercy. That's really the world we're living in right now, and it really bothers me. But here we are, brothers and sisters, so just know this. Be praying for protection, especially on the brothers and sisters out there. I love every single one of you, and I do ask for your prayers. Also, please get a hold of me. If you go to to our website, agapeonthestreets.com, there's a Telegram link on there. You can join Telegram. You need the app on your phone. It's a great place to chat. Otherwise, if you already have my phone number, my personal number and stuff, I can talk to you there. I'm sorry, I just don't give that out on videos and stuff. I've just had too many problems in the past. We do have a phone number for Agape on the Streets, but I don't get that much anymore. We used to get texts there, and it is just, at this point, way overwhelming. So it's not the greatest place to go if you want to chat to me in here and now. Telegram is by far the best place to go. And I love every one of you. I can't say it enough. I don't think there's enough love in this world, especially amongst the church. We need to be a family again. We need to love each other. We need to support each other. I'm looking for a Christian brother or sister that's a lawyer, that understands this stuff, that can mentor me a bit, that can help me through this. Unfortunately, whenever I get into these, it's some guy that's not even a Christian. He comes and just pours out his heart and helps me out. And praise God, I'm not going to turn that down, but I'm really praying for the church to step up here. I'm looking for Christian family, some good fellowship and the whole thing too, and that we could just bless each other. God bless all of you. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm not giving up here. I got faith. He is our provider, but He uses us to provide through each other many times. He uses the church, so I'm just praying that the church steps up here, that they see what's going on. I've been serving for a long time, and I'm tired. God renews me. I'm here. I'm going. But I also need some help here. I need some help. Bye-bye now.